Ah, yes, Bobby Kotick, the one and only Activision leader himself. Now, this man is, however you look at him, he is actually a legend. Yeah, things ended very poorly with him at Activision, but there is no denying his success. He was the head of Activision for like 30 years. Actually, over 30 years now that I look it up. He became the CEO in 1991. Now, at the time, Activision was not doing well. They didn't really have much of a good identity at the time. There was no Call of Duty. There was no Xbox Live. There were no quick scoping compilations on YouTube. You know, this was just Activision in the 90s. But fast forward 30 years, and yeah, he really led a successful company. Now, that being said, like I said, it ended not very good with him. Yeah, he left the company in December of 2023. This was like right after Microsoft acquired Activision. Now, since then, he's kind of been on I don't know how you want to put it, like a media tour of sorts. I don't know, I've been seeing the dude like on podcasts recently, just like random interviews. And hey, more power to him. I mean, he's his own man now. He can really do whatever he wants. So, you know, I'm not like putting that down by any means. But he really has been kind of pushing, at least in the clips that I've seen from all of these podcast interviews, he's really been pushing this narrative that he was really victimized in his last few years at Activision. Essentially, the TLDR version of it is that kind of in the last like 2 years of him at Activision, there were these allegations that there was this like overall toxic environment in the workspace at the office. Like people called it like a frat culture. There were allegations of sexual harassment, and all of this was of course under Bobby himself. I should say the leadership of Bobby. I don't think any of the allegations were like directed toward him, but he was kind of blamed to a degree because this was under his supervision. Now, though I do say that he's been talking about this a lot, I don't think he's really pressed like any actual legal charges or like gotten his lawyers involved in anything like this. What I do know though is that I remember this clip, it was like from a month ago. It was him on a podcast, and he was talking about how like he might want to press charges against somebody or some organization. I don't actually know who that was, but essentially he was claiming like defamation. Okay, I did look it up. This is from a YouTube channel called Kleiner Perkins. I assume that's like the person's name. I'm actually surprised this only had 14,000 views. This was a month ago. So if you want to watch it, you can. But yeah, he was making these claims, but I didn't really think that something would actually result of this. But it turns out today people have actually found that yes, there is now, as of just this Tuesday, March 11th, there is an open case in the state of Delaware that is regarding exactly this. You know, it's claiming defamation, and this is Bobby Kotick himself that is suing them. So who this is, who the defendants are, is Go Media. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, but essentially, they're a pretty big company that owns Kotaku, The Root, and Quartz. I had never heard of Quartz, but these are like journalist companies, and it looks like they also owned Gizmodo, although that did change in June of last year. But the allegations in this lawsuit, I believe, are pre-June 2024. So yeah, the two main ones that are involved in this case are Gizmodo and Kotaku. So like I said, this just opened up on Tuesday. Now the criminal complaint is not open yet for public viewing, but you can see here there is a public record of this case. As you can see, yes, it was filed on Tuesday, and it is Bobby Kotick versus Go Media. So as far as what the lawsuit consists of, we kind of have to go off of different articles. Now I did find an article on a website called Aftermath by Riley McLeod. I will link it in the description, but they do talk about this, and they essentially say that though the complaint itself cannot be viewed, some people at Courthouse News have viewed it, and they wrote that Bobby Kotick is seeking damages to be determined at trial, so we don't know how much he is asking for, but this is regarding articles on those two websites that I mentioned, Kotaku and Gizmodo. Now they do say that the complaint states that these articles are about Bobby Kotick's reported interest in buying TikTok. Now from what I can tell, these were articles that were talking about that, and then I think they were referencing these allegations that I talked about earlier that were kind of made between 2021 and 23 about, you know, allegations of a toxic work environment under Kotick's leadership. So it says, as context into Bobby Kotick, the articles both discussed a California Civil Rights Department investigation into Activision Blizzard, and that was regarding, of course, all of these allegations I talked about, but this investigation was settled in 2023. The final California settlement makes note that no court or any independent investigation has substantiated any allegations, and that the defendants deny all allegations of wrongdoing, liability, and damages. So essentially they're pointing out that these settlements that were made in 2023 regarding this toxic work environment, the settlements involved Bobby Bobby Kotick not actually being like found guilty of anything or admitting any wrongdoing. And because of that, Kotick is basically claiming that these alleged allegations, that kind of sounds weird to say, by Kotaku and Gizmodo are completely false, and they are basically defamation against him. So there is a quote from the complaint that reads, Kotaku and Gizmodo went out of their way to include withdrawn false allegations relating to workplace issues which Go Media knew had been conclusively disproven by numerous investigations. And that is essentially where we are at right now. Like I said, the full complaint is not viewable per public records, but I'm sure more will come to light. So we will see how this turns out. This could be a long road ahead of both parties. And I am curious to see if this is maybe the first of many of these defamation cases with Bobby Kotick.